Well, welcome to our daily Timothy time. Today is Monday, the 20th of September 2020, and it's week 40. My name is Carl Coates, and I'm from a ministry here in Norway called Pure Bible Study. And if you want to contact us, you can email at ourdailytimothytime@gmail.com. Good or bad, if you want to contact us, there's the email address. Anyway, the daily read today, Pauline epistles, will be in Philippians 1, 2, and 3. And if you are reading through the Bible in a year, I'll tell you what, are you lazy and just don't want to open the Bible? I hope you're not. Anyway, a bit rough for a Monday morning to say that. But nonetheless, laziness is a killer of your spiritual growth. And I'm talking to myself too. Anyway, if you quit being lazy, if you're reading through the Bible in a year, you can read, well, we will be in Exodus chapter 13, 14, and 15 today. Now, the Bible timeline, part 16. Today we're in Genesis 3 still, and we're looking at the fall. Okay, come with me to Romans chapter 5, verse 12. Romans chapter 5, verse 12 in one hand, Genesis 3, 6 in the other hand. So here's the first scripture. Wherefore, as by one man sin entered into the world, and death by sin. And so death passed upon all men, for that all have sinned. For until the law, sin was in the world, but sin is not imputed where there is no law. Nevertheless, death reigned from Adam to Moses, even over them that had not sinned after the similitude of Adam's transgression, who is the future of him that was to come. And then it carries on down. Now come with me to Genesis chapter 3, verse 6. This is where it all goes pear-shaped, as they say out in the world. Adam had got his commandment from God. He knew what to do. He didn't get the information over to his wife, Eve. Satan comes along, and yea, hath God said. Eve falls to pieces, and we'll cover that this week sometime. And verse 6, and when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. And the eyes of them both were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. So that's the fall of man. Okay, then if you read in the context, you hear what God has to say. Now the dispensation of promise comes in from Genesis 3:15, which is a promise of a seed. Let's just read 15. And I will put, this is God speaking, and I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. You see, there's a promise of a seed, God's promise of a future, a redeemer. Okay, so there's Genesis is the seed plot of the Bible, as I was taught, and so there's a seed line, God's promised a seed line. Now, this is the dispensation of promise. It's number 1 of the 5. Now, a dispensation, sometimes people get a bit funny about that word. It's a Bible word. You read about it in Ephesians and other places. A dispensation is a body of information dispensed for mankind to follow. Okay, it's not a time period, but rather instructions for a time period. And you want to go along and read Galatians chapter 3, verse 17 to 19 when you got a gap today. Have a read of that, would you, please? And tie those 3 passages of scripture I've given you, tie them all up, and you'll come to a better understanding. You need to read it. I'm going to be straight up and down. So there you have it. We have the first dispensation, the dispensation of promise, which goes from Adam till Moses. Now there's the character we're going to be looking at in a couple of days' time, Abraham. That'll add to where we are anyway today. Listen, my time's up for today. It's been a privilege to be with you. We're going to connect tomorrow and carry on with the Bible timeline. But until then, keep reading. Maranatha.